Like a virgin, you know. Like,
Oh yeah, right.
I made it through the wilderness.
Oh my God, yes. It somehow fits, right?
Oh. Can I have a sip?
Have a mic sip. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Welcome. So you have arrived at the Late Night with Fringe. I'm your host, Ian Gibbs. And we're gonna, all right, give it up for Ian. Thank you so much. Great, we're gonna have some fun tonight. With me tonight, I have the house band. It is the Late Night with Fringe house band, which is Craig and David. Craig on keys and David on drums. Also, we have our super talented high-tech Artem in the back. He's with Earth Coast Productions, and he's been doing, give him up. He's got workshops and stuff coming up, and he's been doing a lot of the taping. He's just been a great, awesome thing for this. So tonight we've got 3 awesome Fringe artists with us. We're going to be interviewing, getting some more information about them and about their show. And we have a theme of the night. So the theme tonight is Virgin Sacrifice. Woo! So do we have any Fringe Virgins here? I don't think we do. It's like, what?
Yep, there's one there.
Oh, you're a Fringe Virgin? Okay.
One here.
You're a first Fringe?
First Fringe.
Oh.
There's one here.
Nice.
Artem is a Fringe Virgin.
Excellent. Okay, so we do have some virgins in the house. Excellent.
Boulder Fringe Virgins in the back there.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Cool. So what we're going to do in a minute. Hi, folks. Come on in. Welcome. Welcome to Late Night with Fringe. You're welcome to come on in, grab a drink, have a seat, whatever you want to do. So tonight, if you want to start thinking about stories, we're going to be telling a few stories of my first time stories. So it doesn't have to be your first time of, say, having sex or whatever, but it could be that. I mean, if you're feeling bold and ambitious and want to tell your virgin sacrifice literal story, feel free to do that. But we're just going to go around and maybe get some stories from people, especially our Fringe Virgins, about their first time.
Fringe Virgin right over here.
Another Fringe Virgin?
Yeah.
Excellent.
And,
Good.
you're a Fringe Virgin?
I am just a bystander virgin. I'm a voyeur virgin.
That's hilarious. But real quick, what I'd like to do is just go around and maybe mention a show that you've seen that you really liked, a show or two if you want. Obviously, I'll give you a chance at the end to plug your own show if you're not here being interviewed. But if I just kind of want to go around and get a feel of like, what's a show you've seen that you really liked? You want to?
Yeah, so I saw Tiramisu, and Michael's awesome. It was amazing, and everyone should see that show, and it's developing. So please go see it.
Nice. Anybody else?
I saw Crapshoot, which was just like kept unfolding and unfolding. And right when you think you've got it all, it unfolds somewhere else. It's fantastic. And everyone should go.
Cool. And we've got Todd here tonight. That's his show. Awesome. Anyone else see a show? Want to talk about a show? Yeah.
First show I saw here was Mingalaba, James' show Mingalaba, which is essentially, I guess I can only summarize it by saying it's like a fever dream, but in the best way possible.
Yeah, that's awesome. Also, if I pass this mic around and there's no actual sound, it's for our lovely streaming at home audience. So if it seems strange that I'm using a mic, it's not just a prop. It's actually for our viewers at home so they can get some good sound. Does it? It sounds great. Then. Anyone else want to talk about a show? Anybody else want to talk about a show? Yes.
I saw In Between with Rachel Lederman. I really enjoyed it. I never saw anything like it. I'm really excited about the Fringe Festival, and I can't wait to see all of your shows as well.
Anybody else? Yes. You want to pass that over?
So I saw last night. I saw Freeloader, and one of the beautiful things about it is I now understand about the woman that's living in my house. It helped me a lot to come to terms with that.
Anybody else? Yeah, Dave.
Things especially because she's here. I didn't see the show yet, but I saw some of parts of the technical rehearsal the other day in Ingenue, and it was surprisingly like these really stunning little worlds and dreamscapes that she goes into, and I just wanted to give a little plug for Fiona. And just also a plug for the festival in general. I knew less about the content this year than any year prior to this. And every little tech rehearsal I've seen has gotten me so excited to see the shows because they all look amazing, actually, when on their feet. And I couldn't quite tell from the descriptions, but as I started watching little pieces, and I saw Crapshoot last night, and it was excellent. And I'm really excited about the festival now.
Cool. Nice. That's really awesome. I saw Mingalaba also yesterday, and it's awesome. It just is awesome. I'm like, oh yeah, this is totally what Fringe is about. He was a lot of fun, really high energy, intense. And I also saw Tiramisu, which was great. It was funny because he said he wrote the show like the night before. Like he just was totally unprepared and just totally winged it. And like, he's like, don't worry, this show's going to get better. And I know it is. So, like, that's one you could even go back to and see a couple times because I think it's going to change. And it was really fun. Cool. So, first-time stories. I'll start with my first-time story, which is it's not about sex. It's actually about keef. I don't know if you ever heard of keef. It's the marijuana that, like, when you dust off all the marijuana plants, it ends up on the bottom, and it's like powdered, super high potency marijuana, right? And of course, marijuana is legal here now. I mean, this was before it was legal, but anyway, I had these guys. We were at this party and we're drinking whiskey, and these guys are like, "Oh, dude, you want to try keef?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll totally try keef." I'm like, I have no idea what it is. And so we smoked it, and it's like super highly concentrated. And it was like, woohoo! We were like, I was jumping around. We were like jumping and rolling over the bed. Like, it was so amazing. And then I went downstairs and just went, just into total slow motion. And was like, oh my God, that was a bad idea. It was nuts. I went down to the party, and I just couldn't talk to anybody. Everything was in slow motion. And I think I went out to my car and like threw up because I was so freaked out or something. And then I just left the party, and it was awful. It was really awful. So that was my first time and last time, by the way, ever trying keef. Anybody else? Any of our virgins have a story, a first time story? You got one? All right, awesome. And listen to these stories, because the best story that you hear is going to win 2 free tickets.
Oh, the pressure is on. Let me say that tonight was just amazing. That there were so many performers from all over the world, right there here in Boulder. And I didn't see anything, but I heard a lot of laughter. So to me, that says that I must come back and see all the shows. You are from Germany, no? Is that right? That's what I heard. Yeah, you look German. Yeah, so anyway, that's all. I didn't see anything, but I loved everything. Because it's a beautiful town here in Boulder. Love it here. Here, somebody takes this thing.
Here, I got you. Anyone else have a story, a first-time story?
Any first-time story?
Any first-time story, yes.
Do it. You got
You sound like you got one.
Clearly have
If I have
make
to.
that happen. No, do it.
This is sexual, so please put your children to bed. Yes. Well, when I was in South Dakota, I worked at Custer State Park, and by process of elimination, everybody that was hired there were all girls, and there was one guy named Ben, and I ended up dating him, and I was early 20s and super innocent, and when we were hanging out, And we were talking, and I was making out with him, and he was giving me this look, and I was like, yeah. And I was like, so I am afraid of penises. And I was a virgin still because my dad put the fear of God in me because he was a pastor, and he's like, you get pregnant, don't come home. So I kept my legs shut tight. And but my jaw was a different situation. So Ben says to me, listen, I had fear of heights, but then I went climbing. You just need to face your fear. So I did. And that was my first time.
And what was your name? Rebecca. Thank you, Rebecca.
I have a related story.
Do you? All right, go ahead.
So when I was like 5 years old or so, there was this kid that would walk us to school all the time. This older kid, and he said at one point that there were 1,000 calories in a teaspoonful of sperm. And I mean, I have no idea why he told us this, and I didn't know what the word calorie meant or what the word sperm meant. But so then, like, I'm in college, and I'm confronted with my first blowjob, and I'm like looking at this guy, and I'm going, "There's 1,000 calories in a teaspoonful of sperm." Like that came up in my brain, and I was like, "Shit!" So that means I do this and I have an apple. Like that's because, you know, look at me. I'm like 4'11", like 1,300 calories, like that I can take in every day. And so I'm looking at that and I'm like, yeah. So, but I freaking did it. And I had an apple. Yeah.
She'd have been like, do you have any low calories?
No, but and come to find out, so this was like the 80s. So come to find out, yeah, not true. There are not 1,000 calories in a teaspoonful of 35 calories and a lot of protein. So totally worth doing. I got really skinny in college.
The new diet plan. Yes, please.
Was that also with Ben?
What's that?
Was that also with Ben?
No.
Is that also with Ben?
No.
Anybody else? Anybody else got a first-time story? Awesome, great.
So I moved to Boulder from New York about 9 years ago, and it turns out that everybody wants to get to know you when they're hiking. Whatever happened to a coffee date? So my husband told me I should wear fry boots. So I went to Sanitas, and I was on the trail wearing fry boots, which are like cowboy boots, the whole time. And my friends were like, why are you wearing those? I thought we were going hiking and I needed to wear fry boots. It turns out you need to wear sneakers when you're hiking. That was my first time. I didn't know.
That's awesome. Anybody else got one? Got a first time?
An anti-sex first time.
Sure. Yeah, please.
So a lot of people know in here that I grew up in a very large family. I'm ninth of 10 children, and in families like that, sometimes everyone thinks they told you things, but they didn't. So I was the one who kind of missed out on the sex talk, and I didn't get it. So I was about 13 years old, and I had a girlfriend that really wanted to have sex for the first time. And I couldn't figure it out. I hadn't masturbated. I hadn't figured out sex in any way. And so she kept trying. And, of course, she couldn't articulate that she wanted what she wanted. So she was just sort of implicating things. And she was like doing things like shoving my hand into her pants. And I was just like going, you know, like wandering around and, you know, like all over the place and giving her basically a massage. and she would like shove my hand down further, and I would just be like, I don't know, that's kind of weird, so I'm just going to continue to squeeze her butt and do things, you know. And I had no idea. I literally had no idea. And so I kind of thought about it. She kind of got mad at me. She said I wanted to be intimate, and I started thinking about what I thought intimacy was. And so it was her birthday coming up, and my friends and I had learned how to build log cabins and things like that. So I thought, oh, she's a woman and I'm a man. I need to build her a house. And so this was my first intimate moment, was that I built a cabin in the woods for her. And I built a fireplace and a little door on it and a fireplace, and I slanted the roof and did all the things, and I notched the wood, and I brought her out there, and she totally thought we were going to have sex. And I brought her out there to kind of like show her new house, because I built her a house. And we laid down, we started making out, and we're like getting hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter. And then all of a sudden I'm like, wow, my feet are really hot right now. And I was thinking, this must be sex. And then I looked down and my feet were actually on fire because I was like up against the fireplace in there. So I had to run through the door, and I broke out the door, and I stood in the snow, and my feet were all melted. And she came out and she looked at me, and she got mad, and she punched me in the chest, and she was just like, fine. And then she walked off, and that was my first intimate experience.
It's sad and yet sweet. It had kind of all the components. Weird, painful. What's that?
I mean, I've since then kind of learned a few things.
Nice.
The bigger house.
I can build a bigger house.
With more than one room.
All right, I think that's good. What was your name? Summer? Cool. And you're Rebecca, right? Okay. So David obviously can't participate. He doesn't need tickets. He's actually has a free pass. But by audience applause, let's find out who has the best.
No, I worked the box office, so I'm disqualified as well.
I'm disqualified because I'm an artist.
I guess I got the same ticket.
Well,
Oh my God, you gotta take a festival show voucher.
give it up for Summer, everybody. Well, that worked out perfectly. Then we didn't have to feel bad about someone not having the best story. And all that.
Awkward about not knowing you were in the competition.
Awesome, cool. Well, we're gonna move on with tonight. We're gonna go right into some interviews. So to get us started, this gal, her show is called Ingenue. She is from Boulder, and she's performing in the Secret Chapel. Please give a warm welcome to Fiona Small. Hello, welcome. Please have a seat. Awesome. So, how's it going for you?
It's going.
Yeah?
Yeah, this is my first Fringe Fest. It's really my first one-woman show.
Okay.
Because I grew up on an island, I was very involved in community theater there, so
Yes.
I have had all of that, but this is just takes it to a different level, and it's really exciting.
Nice. How many shows have you had so far?
I've had one. I opened today.
You opened today?
Yeah.
Cool. And what was the feel? How was it received, did you think?
It was just a whirlwind.
Yeah.
I felt like I was ready. I went into it not exactly feeling nervous, but just giddy. I was excited.
Yeah.
I was totally terrified that I'd forget all of the words to the songs,
Right.
of course.
Right.
And I didn't. So
Good.
that's really great. I'm like, okay, I got through that.
Yes. Sometimes you got to get through that first show to get the nerves out and be like, okay, I got this.
Exactly.
Nice.
And I had some hiccups, like I just have these really small costume changes, just putting on my tap shoes or whatever. And I just could make jokes out of it, and everyone was just laughing along with it. So it was really great just to be up there and have that command of the stage. And it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. I can work with that.
Cool.
So.
Cool. So tell us a little about your show. I know there's some dance and song, and you're a dancer, right? Primarily,
Kind
or
of.
a singer-dancer?
I mean, I haven't been training for very long. I dropped out of college a year ago to focus on theater, so that's when I started taking dancing and singing seriously.
Uh-huh.
So it's kind of crazy to be here now, to
Yeah.
be doing that after this crazy year of just focusing on that.
Cool.
But I've always loved musical theater. Like when I was little, I would just sing along to and dance with Singing in the Rain and Hello Dolly, and so it's always been a part of me. I was always dancing. So I've chosen some of my favorite songs and dances. There's
Right.
Tap, there's Fosse. Yeah, it's I'm using songs from the Fantastics and
Cool. So just kind of, and it's kind of cabaret-ish,
yeah.
right? Like,
And the theme is the rain.
The
Because
rain,
I grew
okay.
up in the Pacific Northwest.
Right.
That's a huge part of who I am, and the ocean. And
Right.
so, of course, now living in Boulder, I feel a little bit just off, but
Yeah.
I love it here. So
is it too much sunshine for you? Do
It
you
is.
actually?
It's too much,
It's
yeah.
too much. You miss.
I especially don't like August. I just
You don't like August,
just
okay?
need rain.
You need some rain. Need some covered days. And where did you grow up? Is what island was it?
San Juan Island.
San Juan
off the
Island.
coast of Washington.
Cool.
It's
Yeah,
so
because I was talking with James Sundquist last night, and he grew up on Whidbey Island.
Wow,
Yes.
that's so close.
Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so you'll have to talk to him. And then Melissa also, where'd she go? She dipped out. Melissa grew up in that area too.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you guys already talked about that.
Well, David told me, but yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, next time you see James, you'll have to
For sure.
talk to him about that.
Yeah.
So where have you been studying this past year? Is there a company or a group?
I've just all around really been taking classes at the Denver Center for Performing Arts and different dance studios, Boulder Ballet, Dance 2B in Denver. So I've been really just like hardcore focusing on that in the beginning, and then I realized like I have to stop putting so much pressure on myself.
Right.
Because I want to be performing, I want to be in musicals, but I have to balance that out a little more and just
Sure.
go
And
with that.
and what were you in college for before?
Music. I was at Naropa University, and I'm
Oh.
actually going back now.
Oh, cool.
After that year, it feels like the right time. So I'll be
Gotcha.
studying music and art and performance.
Okay. Because I was wondering if like you were in like business school and then you like dropped out to do art, and your parents were like, Fiona, what happened?
My parents are artists.
Are they? Oh, good. Okay, good. So they're on board with that. And you're going to Naropa anyway. Okay, cool. And now I understand your show is free. Is that true?
It is free. Yeah.
What was the choice there?
I knew a lot of my friends would come, and I just wanted to make it accessible to everybody. But now I'm kind of realizing maybe it would have been good to make some income, so I put out a little donation jar. Just people want to support, they can, and give them that option.
So that's good. So if you go to Fiona's show, throw her a couple bucks. Do that. Do that. Artists must be paid.
Yes.
It's cool. So this is good. This is your first lesson.
Yeah.
In
yeah,
no, I'm doing a service and I should get.
I mean,
something in return.
because I grew up in community theater, was always volunteer, so I need to get used to that mentality. But
Yeah, but that's awesome. Cool. Is there anything else you wanted to add? Something you want to tell people about?
Not really. There's so many people I want to thank. David and Melissa and the whole team, all of you. There's so many people who helped me put the show together. My choreographers, my BDT. I work at Boulder Dinner Theater,
Right.
so that community. I'm incredibly grateful. It's been such an amazing journey. and
That's
support.
awesome.
It's been great. So.
Well, good. Congratulations on the
Thank
show.
you.
That's really awesome. You can catch her next show is tomorrow night, Saturday the 17th at 4:30 p.m. in the Secret Chapel. Give it up for Fiona Small. Youth. Do you guys remember like your first shows, like doing your first shows, like high school? For me, it was junior high and high school, but like it was so fun. Like you're so excited and fresh, and like you just want to do everything. I remember it like it was yesterday. Cool. We'll keep moving along. Our next guest is from San Francisco, California. Her show is called Freeloader in the House of Love. She is performing that in the Secret Chapel. Please give it up for Evelyn Jean Pine.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, welcome to Late Night.
Yeah, I'm so jazzed to be here, Ian.
Are you?
It's fabulous. Yeah.
Yeah.
All these, just looking out and getting to see all these brilliant performers.
Yeah.
It's fabulous.
Yeah,
It's
this-
so inspiring.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
This is fun. This is a fun space. I recommend anyone who's watching come down.
Yeah, come on, get down here.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
It's really great to be around the other artists and friends and have some drinks and not be just chatting outside of theaters. Like we actually get to sit down and have conversations, which is great.
Yeah.
So do you have a show tonight?
I did have a show tonight.
Cool. How'd it go?
It was great. It
Yeah.
was very intimate, and it was all women.
Really?
Which is fantastic because this show is a lot about gender roles.
Yeah.
And it was just cool to have only women responding. I mean, there were certain points where it was like, whoa, because it was all women. That got a laugh for a long time that had never in a mixed group gotten such a long laugh.
Interesting.
So it was very cool.
Cool.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
And what is your show generally about? I mean, I've read bits, but I don't, like, how would you pitch it, if you will?
Well, it's the story of a woman who's lost everything and desperate, but then has this insight that women respond to men who express their feelings the way that men respond to pornography.
Interesting.
And it saves her life. It's like, whoa, she suddenly is tapped into this place. And in her case, money. I mean, she's very, she has no feelings, really. And that was, as a writer,
yes,
that was fascinating to me because I wanted to write about someone who appears to have no feelings but isn't a psychopath.
Yeah.
Because we have this sort of popular culture cliche, right? Of this idea if you don't have feelings, you're a sociopath or whatever.
Right.
And I, as a playwright, because right now we're in this idea like, feelings, let's worship them. And I wanted to play with the idea of here's this character who's just doesn't have them and yet is able, because of that, to see things that other people don't see.
Interesting.
So yeah, it's a blast.
That's a great idea.
And the whole reason I got into it was a friend of mine was talking about her daughter and her friends and said, you know what my daughter and her friends do? And of course I said, well, what? And she said they watch videos of men crying.
Really?
And that was what I said. I said, no, they don't. Like really? And yeah. So I started exploring that idea. Like, what was the fascination for particularly young women? I mean, I'm 66, and I'll tell you, we do not spend our time. Once you don't have to worry about getting pregnant, you do not spend your time watching videos of men crying. Like why? And that's not a diss. I realize there are young people here, and I don't want to offend you. But it just struck me as like a young woman's thing.
Yeah.
But then I thought, what's that about?
Right.
I mean, that was just so surprising to me. It's interesting, there's another show here that I haven't seen. It's based on a Leslie Gore song called It's My Penis and I'll Cry If I Want To.
Yes, I've seen it.
And I think it's a really good partner to my show because they're both about gender roles and how absurd they are.
Yeah.
Right?
I just, after you talking about that, I'm thinking of like a porn site that is just all men's emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Like just videos of like men like listening intently to a woman like, I know.
That's
what else happened?
You laugh, but in a way that's what this play is about. Now again, being 66, I don't believe in porn, right? Which is politically incorrect, right? We're all supposed to say, well, porn, it's the future. I believe in free love. Okay. And that was part of what was powerful about hearing about these young women. Because I don't believe love and sex should be commodified. And if that's what's exciting, it's beautiful.
Yes, totally.
So I mean, I think you're absolutely right that I know a lot of women who, that guy starts like listening to talking about their feelings or starts sharing theirs. And, they're having more sex than some of these people have had all month.
Yeah.
That's not true. This group particularly has had tons of sex, but people out in the main dining room.
Right, the main dining room.
Not here. Yeah, those. But really, there's a way in which I think for women, and of course we've all been trained in this gender thing, right?
Sure.
That we've sort of been taught of sort of these roles of what we're supposed to behave, and it's very exciting to see people step out of those roles.
Yeah.
And I think for women, it's very exciting. Or,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Well,
straight
I mean,
women, but also gay women.
I think a lot of it's changing. Obviously, I mean, the whole Me Too movement has really changed the way people relate.
Has it?
Oh,
I mean, it's changed how
absolutely.
people relate, but I think it's changed it in a kind of guarded way, and that's not to say, I mean, come on, if all the men left this room, I mean, women, we would just all have plenty of Me Too stories, probably men
Well, but
too.
there's also there's a huge non-binary movement that's happening right now that blows men and women out of the
That's exactly
It
right.
takes them out of the
Yeah,
dialogue, so that all of a sudden it's not about the binary.
That's true, except part of what happens when we have, particularly men, because it tends to be men, people who behave as men, who exploit other people sexually, and I know there's exceptions to that, we can talk about exploding a binary, but we realize, wow, the reason why this person just thought that I was supposed to do such and such at work is because they're seeing me as a woman, right? I mean, they're, you know, and they're living out this fantasy, and I agree with you. All these gender roles, they're fantasies, but we live our fantasies every day, which gets me back to what's great about the Fringe.
Yes.
Enough of this heavy. I mean, we didn't come to the Fringe to talk about ideas, but what's so great about the Fringe is we have this opportunity as performers to take work that we might not take somewhere else, right? I'm a playwright, and so I do a certain amount of work in that realm. And what's great about taking a piece like this to the Fringe is you can really play with it. You can say, okay, tonight I'm going to do it this way and take this risk.
Right.
I can see my audience in a different kind of way. So every night at the Boulder Fringe, what the performers are doing is living out their fantasies. And the audience gets to live with us.
Yeah.
And it's profoundly powerful.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying last night, I love, there's a church with all these little rooms where all this amazing art is being created. In one little place, it's like you just feel this energy of, the church is just glowing, boom, 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 it's just charged with that creative energy. It's super fun.
And in fact, there's even the power of you're performing in a space and you start hearing the other performer. It's incredibly empowering to think there's someone over there working as hard as I am, connecting as deeply as I am. It's so cool. Thank you. It's the best. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's great. Is there anything else you want to add?
Well, come see my show.
Oh yeah.
It's
that.
It's a lot of fun. It definitely is one woman's story. And I did a lot of performances that were personal stories and got very bored at a certain point. And so it's marvelous fiction, and it's so fun to perform because of that.
Nice. Good.
Yeah,
thank you so much for having it. Give it up for Evelyn Jean Pine. Her next show is going to be Sunday the 18th at 5:30, and she is performing in the Secret Chapel. Before I forget, I need to start plugging my shows. So I have a show coming up on Wednesday, the 21st, in Fellowship Hall. It's a one-time deal with the Boulder Improv Collaborative. We're going to be doing long-form improv. There's going to be 3 groups. I'm doing a 2-person improv in that show. And then I also have a show coming up if you're in the Boulder area. It's at the Jester's Dinner Theater in Longmont. It's on August 29th at 7:30, and that's a short form show. So those are my plugs. Yeah, it was time. Awesome, good. Our next artist coming up to I keep calling it the stage. It's not really a stage. It's more like the table. The table?
Yeah, it's the table.
It's the table.
The table. The interview table. Our next artist coming up to the interview table is a gal from Portland, Oregon. Her show is Sexology, the musical, playing in the parlor. Please welcome Melanie Moses.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Is this like my water?
It is. I don't think anyone's touched it.
Okay,
so you
awesome.
can go ahead
I
and-
don't have to have a Stars talk with anybody.
With a
Then.
microphone in it.
Like a STI talk with anybody about this water.
I don't think
Okay,
so.
awesome.
I think
good.
you're good.
I will drink this.
Awesome.
Then, in that case, hi.
So did you have a show tonight?
Mhm.
And how'd it go for you?
It went really well. It
Yeah.
was very low attended, but the show went really well. So
Cool.
yay for that.
Nice.
Yes, and also the people that were there were the folks that are doing the Elgin Fringe Fest, and that's my next stop.
Aha.
And they were like, "Man, you rocked it!" And they were like taking pictures with me and crying and shit. So
Cool.
yeah. So I'm feeling good about that.
That's great. What is the Elgin?
The Elgin Fringe Fest.
Yes, I'm not
Well,
familiar
it's
with
like
it.
it's about an hour outside of Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah. So I am here now, and I'm doing this festival, and then I'm gonna be like, I've got some house parties in between here and Chicago before I start the Elgin Fringe Festival is September 13th to 15th.
Cool. All right. So you got
And
some
in between,
time.
yeah,
after
yeah, I
this.
got a little bit of time
Nice.
doing some house parties.
Nice. Good.
Yeah. Hi.
What? So tell me about your show. So tell me about the monogamy to solo polyamory, which I had to Google because.
Which you can't Google. There's no definition except on. Well, if you found it on the More Than Two website.
I don't know. I found some things about solo polyamory.
Okay. All right.
But you talk about it because I don't want to interrupt what your definition is, because your definition is what's important.
Well, okay, sure.
Yeah.
So I was monogamous, like most of us are, because that's what we think that's how relationships are supposed to work, because that's what burns into our brains. And then I found out that I cheated on everyone that I was with.
Wait. How did you find this out?
I found it out
Was
because
it
I did it. No, I literally had that action. I did that action on those people, and realized that I'm not a one-person gal. Like I can't do it. It doesn't fulfill me.
Sure.
And I realized that monogamy doesn't work for me. So what does?
Yeah.
And then I found out about non-monogamy through reading things like The Ethical Slut, and there's a million books that you can find out about this shit. So did that, and then I realized, you know what? A lot of times with non-monogamous relationships, you'll end up with a primary partner. So someone who is your one, and then you've got all your extras.
Right.
So your secondaries.
Yeah.
And that felt like bullshit to me too, because that means that so this person's super important to me, but all of you are less than.
Okay.
So fuck that.
Okay.
Not gonna do it.
Yeah.
And so then I realized, if I can't be in a primary relationship with someone, I can be solo poly and have a web of people that I am intimately, emotionally, and intimately sexually with on a long-term basis. And so I live with my triad. I have a man and a woman that I live with, and then I have 3 other partners that are my other intimate partners that
Okay.
I'm with, and we're in contact on a regular basis. And those are my support system, and that's part of. And they know my kid, and I mean,
Yeah.
this is family.
This is family,
This is
yeah.
my family.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, so.
I mean, I guess what I always wonder about is the jealousy factor.
Jealousy is a
I mean-
fucking thing. Yeah.
So so how does that work? Like when jealousy comes up?
So jealousy is a thing. The way that I deal with jealousy is that jealousy is really my issue, and so I need to fucking figure out why I am having jealousy around a partner being with other people, and there's a part of my show where I do the geometry of jealousy. And so come see my show, and you will learn about the geometry of jealousy from a liberal arts major.
There you go. This is covered. This is covered.
Yeah, it's covered in the show. I will not share it here.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Come give me money, and I will tell you the geometry of jealousy.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I read that you do some workshops too. Is that true? Do you?
Yeah, I do
go
workshops.
around?
I do workshops around consent and around boundaries, and around how we open up our relationships. Because to me, it's really important that people don't feel outsider when they're having outsider relationships. Like
right.
Everybody's their own thing, and you're gonna have your. So the father of my kid, my ex-husband, but I usually call him the dad of my kid, is very monogamous, and he has a lovely relationship with this woman who I love, and he is monogamous. That is how he lands.
Right.
I never landed that way, and I didn't know that I couldn't land that way. I landed in polyamory without even knowing that was an option.
Yeah.
And then when I figured out it was an option, and I kind of worked my way around that and got into a space where I was like, oh shit, this totally works.
Oh wait. I get to sleep with lots of people.
And have this
emotional.
tribe and have emotional connection and not be. It's so very different. You just land in that space and go, oh, wow, that totally works. And also, my kid can be a part of that, and my ex can be a part of that, and we can all have this kind of tribe of here we are, and this is how our relationships work. And I don't know, it's lovely.
Yeah.
I mean, my mind,
Well, no,
it's a lot of work too. You should see my Google Calendar. Oh my fuck! I mean, you gotta work that shit out. Like, when are you gonna be? Right now, even now that I'm gone, I have to I have Skype
Get
dates.
little calls and
I have
Skypes
Skype
and-
dates that I have to have with various partners,
Yeah.
and those have to be on the calendar. And then I've got my shows that are happening and things that I'm doing, and
So now, is this your first show that you've done, or have you done other solo shows, or?
I've done other solo. My first solo show that I did was my graduate thesis, and it was called "How to Swallow and Still Keep Your Girlish Figure."
Much to do with the.
And it was
earlier-
actually originally based on exactly
On
that.
that
It was
story.
based on it was based on the 1,000 calories in a teaspoonful of sperm,
That is
which is
hilarious.
not true. Yeah.
Now we know for sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
awesome. Cool. So, you live in Portland now, right? Tell us about Portland. I love Portland. I lived in Portland. I love that town.
Me too.
I hate the rain, but
I hate the rain too.
It's tough for me
but
to get
you get
through.
and also the spring is amazing.
Yeah, the spring and the
in
summer.
Portland. And the summer is awesome too. Yes, and it's hard but things are changing because climate change.
Oh yeah, that
is a thing.
Right.
So we're gonna be California eventually if we keep on this track. I'm just this is sad but true. So.
Yeah, that's cool. So what do you do? What's a fun thing that you do that's not has anything to do with theater or anything? What's something that you really do for laughs, for kicks, something that really gives you joy?
Camping. I
Yeah.
love camping.
And there's
yeah.
so much good
Oh
camping
my
up
gosh,
there.
and they're so great. And also skiing.
Oh, nice.
I'm an awesome skier.
That's
I've been
cool.
skiing since I was 5 years old. So
Great.
that is something that I do a lot. I
Nice.
love that. And
Great.
writing music, obviously, but that's part of theater. So yeah.
No, I like that. The
No,
ski-
no.
I can imagine you on the ski slopes,
No, I am. That's exactly what I'm doing.
411,
I know, you are not kidding. Songs will come in my head as I'm new song. Oh yes, writing that thing.
Cool. Is there anything else you wanted to add about your show or anything else?
I don't know. Come see it. It's not everybody's cup of tea, and that's fine. And maybe if it's not your cup of tea and you come see it, and you're like, crackhead open, things might be different than I think they are, that might be a good thing. I don't know.
Nice. Awesome. That's great. Everyone give it up for Melanie Mosley. Thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm taking my water, so no one needs to worry about my STI status.
Do it.
I'm happy to share.
That is so awesome. Oh, and again, thank you for having a show at the Fringe about sex. Like I said on the first night, like there's not a complete Fringe without at least one show that's about sex. One thing I wanted to add, one thing Todd brought up last night, which is really great, a really good idea, is when you're handing out flyers, this was his suggestion, when you're handing out flyers, stick it in one of the Fringe booklets that has all the shows and all of that stuff, like in one of those, with your flyer in it, so they know who you are, but that also exposes them to all of the stuff going on. So I just wanted to share that. I thought that was a really clever idea for promoting stuff. And of course, just the more people you get into that church to see anything, the more of a possibility they're going to come see more of the things.
James started like a table of promotions.
Did you? Nice. Yeah. Cool. Awesome.
So we can take turns on that. There's a big farmers market starting at 8 a.m. tomorrow.
Yes.
So if people want to basically take turns, because I can't do that many hours every day. It's too much.
Yeah.
But we passed out hundreds of
Nice.
and
Nice.
flyers, and we took everyone's flyers that were available in the church, and of course we left some in there. We took everything we could and put them on the table and passed them out to people with the programs just like that. And the postcards showing these are the artists from around the U.S. you can see right down the street. It really worked.
Awesome.
So we want to take turns together. We can set out the table tomorrow and look legit, and people will be happy.
Cool. What time should we show up tomorrow to make that happen?
We could let's start at 10.
Yeah.
Yes, and I have to say, because I've done a bunch of festivals and toured North America, and I know that the scene typically at other festivals is working the lines at the festival.
Yeah.
But this festival doesn't work that way because the way the lines are set up and it's hard to access them. But last year, Christine Langer, I don't know if you know her, but she's from Seattle, and she's toured the circuit quite a few times. She came here, she was completely unknown, and when she got here, I told her, we talked, and she said, how can I work the lines? I think I told you this the other night. And she said, how can I work the lines? And I said, just go down to Pearl Street and focus on the farmers markets in particular, because she sold out all but one of her shows just by going down there and introducing herself to people. And if you get out there and do that, you'll do really well. But if you don't, it's a really hard town. Like, people don't automatically come out with the Fringe.
Yeah, you gotta work it. Definitely gotta work it.
But if we sit at a table with posters for the Fringe on it, with the programs, they will come to us.
Yes.
That's what I found.
Well, one thing that I have noticed though, because we put up posters on those like little round things, and I'm sorry, but mine, I walked by and again they were removed.
They tore
And
them
so,
off.
yeah. And then they've got like all of this other shit that's happening like way later, not about this.
Well,
And
and also for those of you who aren't from this town, they actually burn those off once a week on Thursday mornings. So that's what happened.
on the
You saw
kiosk.
this.
No, it wasn't burned up. It was like I put them up, and
Someone
then
took them
we
down.
walked back later to just go get some dinner, and
No, they were
my
torn off.
posters were gone.
someone
They
tore
were
them
torn
off.
off between when we left this last night at around 1:30 a.m. and this morning.
Yeah.
They were completely
Oh,
ridiculous.
so someone
torn
just
off.
Yeah,
someone
like
just did
Evie's
it.
posters were all gone.
Yep.
They were
That's
all
not,
there.
that's not usual.
But it would
But
be
that's
great
what's
if
happened.
there's
That's what
a
happened.
happened, yeah.
If there's a regular day that they do get torn down, it would be so good to include that in the marketing booklet for the Fringe, so we all can plan and know
It's just
that
competitive,
day.
It's competitive on those.
Sounds like the real point is making personal direct connections.
Yeah.
More powerful anyway.
Yeah.
And I think part of the problem
That's the
is
best.
also like they're putting up like, I don't know, there's like 10 different posters of one particular thing, and then you put your one poster because that's what I got the money to have up there, and then they're like, fuck that, like that happens.
See, folks, this is what happens at late night: is we solve problems. We get together and we solve problems. Cool. We're gonna wrap up the show here. Once we're done, please hang out, grab a drink. There's food that can be ordered. Relax, talk with people. These guys are going to play a little bit more. Before we wrap up, for the people at home, aside from our artists who are interviews, let's do some shout outs for other shows.
Hey, I'm James. I'm doing Mingalaba on Sunday at 6. I also recommend seeing Cloud 9. It's a very professional, high-quality theater show. It's really amazing, and I think that they deserve a lot of support. It's heavy subject matter, but it's really high quality show, and people should see it.
Solid.
I had to get my flyers because I'm terrible with numbers. Performing Valeska, based on the life of Valeska Gert. Crazy, amazing artist that everybody should know about. I embody her, I resurrect her. It's really exciting, and watch me work my ass off. Next show is Saturday, August 17th at 6 p.m. Come see.
Crapshoot, why I voted for Trump, a love story. I don't think I need to say anything more about it. It's next show is Sunday at 9 p.m.
I think those are the artists we have here. Yes. Anybody else? Cool. Yeah. Like I said, stay, hang around, drink. These guys are going to play. Let's give it up for our house band, Craig and David, which you're going to hear more of. And one more time, give it up for Artem, our tech with the mostest. That is great. Tomorrow night, we're going to be back here with, is it One Piece costume? Is that tomorrow? I think it's One Piece costume is tomorrow night, which means...
Does that mean folks should show up in a One Piece costume?
No, it's a little confusing, but just add one piece of costume to your whatever you have on. So it can be a clown nose or a funny hat or a bow tie, anything just to add a little flavor. It's going to be kind of a costume party tomorrow, which is going to be nice and fun and chill. Yes, please don't show up naked with a sock on your penis. That would be weird. A lot of unitards.
I have my unicorn onesie.
You,
I totally wear that.
you could if you
I'm totally doing that.
if you wear one piece
I am
of.
wearing my unicorn onesie and coming tomorrow.
That's awesome. Well, cool. So we'll be back here tomorrow, 10:30, to do this all again. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. This is Late Show with Fringe. I'm Ian Gibbs, your host. We'll see you next time. Good night.